Wow. Wow. Reading these chat messages. You know what? I'm taking my shoes off. Can't handle this. Can't handle somebody saying they like, what do you like? What am I pretending to be upset about? Vital. The Vital UI more than Serum. No, I think Vital's amazing. I'll probably do a stream on that sometime. I've done a stream on both these things, but okay, Vital's great. But there's another comment. Oh wow, oh my God, there's some comments here. There's a lot. My personal experience with SurgeXT is that I didn't like the way it handled tempo synced delays. Interesting. We'll explore that. No way this is real life. Okay. I'm looking at like a delayed stream reaction anyway. Okay. What else? Am I wrong to say that I prefer? I already got that one. I don't know if I prefer the UI of Vital. I don't know. It's a toughie. I think I prefer the UI of Surge simply because yeah, I'm used to it. I've been using, and it's really funny because I was using Surge for ages and I never updated it. Like for an entire computer iterate, like I didn't update it to XT until like 2 years ago. And then I was like, holy shit, I am missing out. Like I thought it was just like a really solid, good sounding, simple plugin. But look at that. They updated it and it's way better. Also, worth noting, and I covered this on a stream as well, Cardinal, which is a free modular synth VST, and also you could even run it in your browser standalone as well. Runs on Linux everywhere that Surge does. You can download each little Surge thing, filter, oscillators, as modules for Cardinal. So you can kind of make your own Surge interface if you want to, and if you want to play with something that deep. It is a lot of fun. I probably want to do a stream. Maybe I'll just I'll stop making videos and I'll just stream every night. And then eventually, I don't know. What do you do after that? I guess then you just box Mike Tyson when he's 60 or something. Is that what where streaming leads? Leads to a lot of money and crypto scams. So I'm down for that. All right, reading these other there was like a serious question here, I think, from Ryan. Hi folks, doing some research for my MA regarding making music, listening, recording in response to the landscape. Wondering if anyone here makes music outdoors that would be interested in weighing in. I don't make music outdoors. I have, but it's really distracting usually. But when I do, I'll do it on something like the Polyend Play or Tracker. Generally though, I just kind of want to be inside. However, that being said, a few years ago, Jamie Liddell, I was talking to him on the phone. Was it on the phone? Anyway, talking to him, and he said, "Hey, have you ever tried listening to the same song in a different place? Like, have you ever just liked a song and then listened to it while hiking through the woods or while doing work and noticed the vast difference that you hear when doing those things?" And it changed my life. Like I listen to music entirely different now. It's like adding another dimension to how you listen to music. Like, we think of like, oh, I want to listen to this on a good speaker system, or I want to listen to this loud or soft, but I never really thought about like, what am I doing when I'm listening to it? And there are a lot of songs. Like if I sat in here right now and I listened to The Last Samurai score from Hans Zimmer. Excellent score, very classic. There's nothing like crazy or experimental going on. And I listened to it here, I would probably just be bored. I would probably not be that terribly interested in it. Maybe even not like if I listened to it while I was typing or something like that. It's probably not. But if I was like driving through the mountains listening to that score, it's profound. It's amazing. It's like one of my favorite pieces of music ever in that setting. Anyway, that's my only insight on your question. Worth trying. So Serum XT. Oh yeah, mini freak outdoors, viral beats. That's good. I could see that being fun. When we're homeless in Great Depression 2.0, we can all make music outside. We can. We could, yeah, cans of beans that are empty because we ate them a year ago, but we saved the cans hoping that we'll still get a little piece of bean out of it to eat. Yeah, I hope. I don't think we'll have a great reception. I don't think we're gonna have a great reception. You know, I think our wedding is gonna be fine, but the reception, just people are gonna drink too much. All right. Any other comments before I get started with Serum and get distracted and forget to look at the chat, which always happens every single stream? Okay, I think we're good. My brain has been frying this last month. Since the capitalism video dropped, my brain has been frying. Like, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I'm splitting my time between literal machine learning development for audio stuff, which is what my next video is going to be about. And then the other half is deep space imaging. And those two things are so incredibly different from one another. And there's so much to memorize. And there's so many questions I have about it all. And it's a lot. And I'm just really excited for like the next video to come out so then I could just like think about deep space imaging a little bit more and just like get further into that and stop multitasking as much as I am. It can't be good. I feel like that stuff just takes a year off your life. Years, even centuries off your life. Anyway, let's do this. So here we go. Ready? It's time. This is SurgeXT. I feel like anybody watching this probably has already downloaded this plugin. Who's not heard of SurgeXT, who's into music production? They have a saw sound. Yeah, let's do a quick little browse through. Somebody else said that they think Surge sounds better than Vital and Serum. I agree with that, by the way. I don't think that it matters. I don't think it's like a big enough of a difference to actually give a fuck about whatever the UI. With these things, usually if you like a UI, that's what you want to stick with because you just want to, you want to be able to easily make music and enjoy yourself. You don't want to have a headache. So that's our, let me move this over to mono mode. And that way we could maybe listen to the waveforms easier. Oscillator. This is our classic. We could shape it. It's so sharp, isn't it? It's like annoyingly sharp. This isn't really going to have that much width. One isn't going to mess with the saw. Submix. Or, well, no, submix is. This is sync. If we sync at like 12, it should be clearer. Unison, obviously. Not bad. So in our classics, we just have sawtooth and square. Square I've done in my album Hard Scrabble from 2012, I think. There are tracks that are literally like almost every single thing going on in it. Like people thought that I like sampled a bunch of crazy things and triggered all the samples. Almost everything going on in it is just the square in the old version of Serum. Like you could make really, really dynamic sounds with it. By the way, you could just double click something. Oh yeah, and so just for sake of stating the obvious, if you want to oscillate something or if you want to modulate something, you can just grab this and you click it. Well, you could name it too. You click it, and then shape. And then here we have this. This could also be like, these could be envelopes. These we're going to go through this in a bit, but there's a whole bunch of crazy other stuff. Like a sequencer. Random. Okay. Let's look at the other waveforms. We have modern. Kind of the same. This has some different options. You could mix well, not mix, but make it a bit more of a sawtooth shape. The reason for that and why I like that so much is because it really, there's a lot of times if you're making like a pad, especially like a brassy pad, and you have square waves in there, and sometimes it's just like not doing it, and then you're like, oh, well, if I switch to this other one, it actually sounds great. And also, like, if you want to take like a triangle wave and just add in a little bit of edge to it, so a good example would be like if you had a triangle wave for bass. That's like often what I use for bass. So it's just like, and then if if your song got a little bit harder, and then you could obviously envelope all that stuff. So that's really useful. You don't have to like open a filter or anything. Same with sine. And you're not using another oscillator, so it's kind of very resourceful. Wavetable, which introduces us to about 5,000 different. It would be fun to take this LFO and this morph, and then set the rate low. Yeah, now it'll just be random. Yeah, so keep in mind that there's that's just the oscillator, and I mean one modulator there. Like there's nothing going on in the filter, there's no effects, it's just crazy. Yeah, and in my opinion, I kind of like that a little bit better. Like I feel like that kind of sounds better than like just the going through the wavetable sounds better than Serum in my opinion, but that's debatable. I mean, I think both can really accomplish the same, but for some reason it just sounds, I don't know, smoother with complicated ones. Like I feel like I wouldn't be able to tell the difference if it was just like a saw to a square. I have personally never loaded a wavetable into Serum. Like I've never customized one. I've always been more than satisfied with everything that comes in. I can't think of like a wavetable to, look at that, Venus theory. I can't think of a wavetable to put in here that would like not already exist. I mean, I guess if I just wanted to like record a bee and put a bee wavetable in there, but anyway, So yeah, we have an enormous... This would be good for like a car plus strong thing, wouldn't it? That might be something to do later. Window, that's just a similar way of doing the wavetable thing. Show you the difference. Just kind of holds it. I think window, like in this case, yeah, it's just not as intense. It's like a wider array. Of course, we could change that sawtooth and make it more intense. Square would be the least smooth. Okay. Sine. This is... It's like a wave folding, and you could do different things with it. I mean, there's like so much that... It's pretty wild. Yeah, text to wavetable is cool. Are we talking about Vital, where we have heard of that happening? Yeah, I can't find the original thing that's responding to, but that's a thing in Vital. I don't know if I would really care about text wavetable outside of saying a word. Like if I were like, make me a wavetable of a bee or something. And why do I keep using bees? Probably because there's carpenter bees like eating my entire property. Okay, FM1. This would be a good thing too, obviously, for anybody familiar with what are we talking about? Anybody familiar with like a DX7? This would probably be a good move to use one of these. Actually, you can drag these too, but do they have a slider? No. That's all right. Literally speaking of outdoor things, I have pollen. You also have a bunch of presets here. It's like the dirtiest FM. FM3, I actually don't know what the difference is here. Yeah, I personally would not use this for, I mean, if I wanted like a supplementary FM patch on like an supplementary FM oscillator in a patch, I would, but I wouldn't use this just for FM. I would just use, you know, if you don't want to pay anything, you could just use Dext, which is kind of in the same league, but it's all FM. This is a string. So this is like some basic physical modeling. Probably be a good idea to, well, we don't have a filter. So this is two strings. Twist. This is a mutable. This is just like a very nicely organized VST version of, not braids. It's literally over there. Mutable, whatever, somebody in the chat will say it. But that very famous mutable module that gets cloned everywhere. But now you have a polyphonic version of it. Which is nice. Ooh, I love the particle one. Actually, I really love the particle one for other physical modeling. Like if you were to run that through one of the comb filters. Actually wonder if, I don't think I've ever tried this before. I wonder if I can set up the keyboard. Can I? To control, I mean, I'm sure I can. MIDI key track. All right. I just don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what my number would be to even it out. Oh, fuck, you're right. That's so funny. That I don't think that was there before, or I'm just dumb. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. We could throw in, obviously, some effects. These are just master effects over here if we just want one thing to have. There's a lot of different reverbs. I feel like my presets, I always have a strange effect routing. There's something obvious that I'm missing here. The filter is routing to... No, we want it that way. Or actually, I would rather have the filter routing... Oh, right. somewhere in the chat. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is a skin thing. I recently put in this skin. I thought red meant it was enabled, but... Yeah, you could feed everything back, which is fun. There's some of the Air Windows reverbs in here. Or all of his plugins, which are all amazing. Okay, I'm going way out of line here. Into let's finish the oscillator alias. I love that so much. Makes me really want to just like put in a sequencer. Let's see. Drop that wolf fifth. Ready? Woo! Do I keep saying Serum instead of Surge? That's why they should have really named... Yeah, I mix those up a lot. And what's the other one? There's like another S one. That's Citrus. No, that's FL Studio. There's another one that I just haven't used in a while. Or Citrus is the FL Studio one. Forgot what it's called. Slylith or something. I've not really played with that much. But yeah, that's why they should have called SurgeXT something like buttfuck, you know? Like just I've just been playing around with butt fuck. I would have remembered it. I would never mess it up. I forgot that I'm streaming to Twitch. I probably got the cops are on their way. Yeah, that's fun. And I just want to put delay on it because, you know, why not, man? What are we moving at? Hooray! Okay. Anyway, that one's fun. Well, we still got more to explore there. We're not done yet. All our different shapes. Audio in, that's crazy. Quadrant shaping. Memory from step sequencer data. I've never done that before. What? Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, well, obviously, it's not going to do that from itself, but... that is cool. Wow. I'm kind of blown away by that. So, okay, so scene memory data, and what if I go and then enable a bandpass filter, and then make this like this, and then do that again. Scene data, and then go back to normal on here and disable that bandpass filter. Huh. I can't really tell if that's changed anything, but pretty damn cool. I'm just blown away by the crashing, the constant crashing. I feel like some of those things are, like I've played with the formula before, and that crashes sometimes in, and I mean, I don't know where it could crash everywhere, but it definitely crashes in FL Studio. So yeah, just so you know. What am I missing? Where is Surge? Oh, I think I just moved it. Okay. So we still have another one, don't we? Yeah. Sample and hold noise. I've never used this for anything. I mean, it's pretty rad. I just don't. I've just done what I'm doing now and gone, whoa. And we have FM routing. Fun. Beautiful. Man, I don't even know where to start. I guess let's go with just a wavetable. Got Waldorf ones. Lava. Yeah, the harmonizer morph ones are fun. Kind of sound engine-y, don't they? All right. Let's put a square in this one. I said square. Alright, I just want a sine to bring this back and forth slowly, randomly. Sweet. And then over here we'll put in maybe a triangle that is down an octave. This is moving too fast. Okay, I just want to hear a pad. Okay, perfect. Not perfect, we'll get there. Just making a preset. Maybe I don't want something that crawly. You just go with the random, huh? See how that works. Too fast. windows, man. Always killing it. Listen to that. That's gorgeous. Serum or Surge? This is butt fuck. I feel like anybody who just missed the last hour is not gonna know what the hell that meant. Nicely sounding. I wouldn't. I mean, to be honest, I would not call this a free serum. I think the two are different enough. Yeah, I wouldn't replace serum with. I don't think I would. I think in like a desert island, yeah. See, saying stuff like that is kind of silly anyway, though, because I feel like in a I'm just gonna call this Air Windows pad. Well, no, because then people, if I ever share it, people are gonna think I did it. Tribute to Chris Verb. There we go. But fuck. I'll just put in my name in case this actually goes somewhere. License. 1 year. U.S. plus Korea. And trying to think of other license terms that I could add in here. TV, terrestrial, radio. Comment. Perfect. I'm very serious about this stuff. I like don't even say, oh, I have Benn plates. What am I doing here with temp? Yeah, I need to move. Yeah, okay, so I have like, these are my other patches, which apparently, I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. Okay, these are for MPE. I think I was playing these with the Osmos. Yeah. Yeah, these are all just odd. I feel like all of my presets are just like hidden in session somewhere. But one of my favorite things is butter. This is like a 20-year-old preset. And then if you have like cutoff control, I mean, I'm sure you could hear this somewhere in my music. What about people are joining in and now everybody's just like, Buck. Yeah, I might do an intermission to tell you a story because it's a good story, I promise. Okay, it's explicit too, not like porn explicit, but yeah, you know, if your kids are in the room, hit them. I don't just to turn down the volume or something. So once upon a time, ages ago, like it was like 2008 or something, maybe earlier than that, 2006. I was in the back of a car with a group of people driving across. I love how people are like, "Uh-oh, story time." I was driving from like a casino in Indiana with a group of people, and we were all kind of drunk or high. Who knows what we were on, and we were all very rowdy and like excited, and I don't know, just one of those nights. And the late Charlie Cooper was in the car. And we decided to play a game where any text that we got on our phone, we had to respond to that text, with butt sex ? Silly, stupid, mid-20s, not the smartest thing in the world, but, it's like midnight on a weekend night. We're not going to get any serious texts. It's not like our boss is going to be, none of us had a boss, but it's not like, it's going to be a serious thing. And literally, like, we all agreed to do that. And then within 5 minutes, my ex-girlfriend from like 2 years prior sent me a random text out of nowhere saying, "Hey, I'm in town this weekend, but I'm going back to," I think she lived in New York at the time. I'm going to go, I have to leave on Monday morning. It would be fun to hang out. And like Charlie was just, "Butt sex, bud," just screaming at the top of his lungs. Sorry. And I had to do it. And I feel like I just turned into Jordan Peterson halfway through that stream. This fucking pollen. Okay, better. Anyway, I had to do it. And it took a lot of explaining, and like it sucked. It was like the worst possible text you could ever get in that moment. But yeah, I had to explain it, and anyway, I think she just responded with like a question mark, like, "Ben, is this actually something you would type?" Anyway, good story. Here's some horns. All right. Okay, here's something I want to check out. This is something that's very, very neat. The formula modulator, something I haven't spent a terrible amount of time with. So there's not like, let's see, this is controlling what? The pitch. Right, it's probably going to be loud and a little crazy. Right, so it was just a sequencer, right? That's what a fool would say. It's this. There's just like code. Okay, so if I wanted to like change this, I don't know, I'm just sort of coding out my ass right now. Let's try the 3 apply, which I guess... and then the phase cycle. Let's add in some threes. Oh, not a 32. That might be. And then these are all our states. Okay, I see. So we could have this be like really annoying. This is nothing compared to machine learning code, let me tell you. Not bad. Yeah, this is, you don't have to do this. This is like the hidden layer of that. This is something that my viewers are like, fuck yeah, but most musicians are like, yeah, I'm good, dude. I just want to make music. I'm just gonna go with the standard legacy ladder. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's bonkers. Oh wow, and you could edit it. That's good. You don't have to actually build it every single time. And then there's a debugger. Wow, that's so crazy. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's really, stuff like this is really cool because, well, not only is like audio programming like this, like just something within an actual like little session like this where you could immediately hear the output, not only is that like a really, really good way to learn to code, right? It reminds me of processing a little bit, which is like visual like, you know, you could make a circle and then make that circle have spikes come out the end, and not spikes, but lines come out the end at certain intervals, and then have that circle be yellow and draw sun, and then you could have like a randomizer, and then it looks really cool. And this kind of reminds me of that. Wait. There's no... What? Is anybody else noticing that there's like no effects on this, but there's a delay? Oh, I see. It's a bypass, okay. And this is controlling the feedback. They have some more. I'm glad that they have so many demos of this too. All the tutorials are just formula modulator. Oh, no way! Piano phasing. Let's try it. Ha! Steve Reich. Okay, so I guess that means we want to... So the code for this. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to read this entire thing while I'm streaming. But I will copy it and then apply it to, let's try and find maybe like a pluck patch. Let's just make one. Let's make shit. Yeah, I feel like I could literally just make patches in Surge indefinitely for the rest of my life. It's like probably my favorite thing to make patches in. But also, like, there is something really cool about, and this is one of the reasons I like Cardinal so much. There's something really cool about making a patch and like anybody can use it without spending a dime. It's like kind of great. Actually, since I don't play with FM much. Let's make a xylophone. That'll do it. You know what? I would say that like if you want fun FM, like where you're showing off the frequency modulation rather than trying to make a trumpet sound or something, you could do a whole lot worse than this plugin. Just because it's a very easy way to just get that like nasty sounding like FM pull. I want this higher. 16 maybe? Nah, 24. Okay. Another envelope. There we go. Nice little chime. Yeah, we don't actually have to make a... When I think about it, we can just also use a sequencer instead of doing that whole Steve Reich thing. I mean, as much as I want to like be hardcore, who really gives a shit? Although we won't be able to trigger it. Yeah, I guess that was only... Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. Unless you like hearing me think out loud, which would be weird. Oh, and by the way, there are 2 scenes for each one of these, but I'm just sort of lost in my own head here. Oh, Reimer was watching. So I see. It's weird because if you actually were listening to what goes on in my head, you would probably get really depressed. I wouldn't want to subject anybody to that. What are our options here? We have the sequencer. Sorry, I'm just like going through all this and enjoying my little... Maybe a random... Yeah, man. I mean, this is the beauty of open source, isn't it? It's like this is just like one of the most intensive, longest running projects in the synth realm. I think I was trying to make a... I kind of forgot that I'm not gonna be able to hit the gate, so I kind of got lost there for a minute. I was gonna make a little Steve Reich thing. Oh, they wanted me to hold the key for 30 seconds? Okay. I guess I would have to do... Yeah, keep my... It doesn't work. I'm just kidding. I know it doesn't work. I know I did this wrong. Actually sounds quite decent, doesn't it? I'm assuming it's 12. Oh. I'm like, so what? What am I supposed to do here? Maybe this is just like something where like it's the person's fetish and they like masturbate to that. It's just like, hold it for 30 more seconds, man, please. I'm desperate over here. All right, let's try it again. Oh, very nice. I see now. Wow. Oh, well, congratulations. Oh, Bacon. Okay, so I see now. I'm gathering this. The patch maker made this. Okay, got it. Great. Bacon Paul, great job. This is actually pretty impressive. And you added in your slashes to tell us what's going on. That's also great. Yeah, man, this fucking sucks. That's no fun. I hate like notating stuff by number. It's like tablature for synths. I mean, it's great that you did it. I'm not saying the work sucks. I'm saying that the process sucks, and I feel bad that you had to do it. Yeah. Anyway, awesome. Good job. The time and space one. Is it in here? Am I missing something? Oh, burp. Got it. Sorry. I'm fucking blind. Well, why am I not wearing my glasses? Oh, Jesus Christ. What the? All right. That's impressive. That's crazy. I like want to look at the code. Oh shit, you got some ifs and thens. I want to look. Yeah, I like want to analyze this, but I don't want to do it in front of an audience because everybody would fall asleep. You know what? What was I gonna say? Yeah, I figured there'd be two. Oh man, it makes me wonder if we could do one of my favorite tricks on the key step. I mean, I'm sure I'm not going to do it in this stream, but one of my favorite tricks on the key step is to alternate between major and minor arpeggiators and then swap around chords, and you can get some like really, really crazy. Like it's just you come up with melodies. I feel like that's like sort of the Boards of Canada trick, is like if every other note or if every other time you press it, it's either a major or a minor chord, and then just sort of walk around, and you can create these really like dystopian sounding things. Yeah. Anyway, great work. I mean, I guess you could kind of do it probably if I just have like a pad. Well, no, because it would. Yeah, it would have to be randomly between one and the other. This is something that like I can figure out, but again, Canadians is a great patch too, classic. I did it in a video. Oh, I did it in a recent video, not terribly recent. Hold on a sec. Benn Jordan Yamaha Genos. It's like the noise gate with the birds outside. Hey birds. Oh, anyway. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll just find the scene really quick here and drag it in, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I think I did it in this video. Maybe not. No, sorry, it wasn't in this video. All right, sorry, I'm just going through my own videos here trying to find a technique that I forgot about. Does anybody remember what that was? Oh, it was in front of my modular. I was in front of my modular with a key step. I was doing some crazy shit with the modular. I forgot what it was though. Like it was some disturbingly complicated patch. Oh well, doesn't matter. But yeah, basically it's just sort of like Yeah, you can't, it's one of those things where you just have to sort of play it. Damn, 2 a.m. I've been going to bed really late lately. It's no fun. Yeah, it's crazy. I need to dive into this more. It's also like really, really... It would be 2 a.m. in UK, right? I know my... I want to play with some effects. There's like a lot of stuff I want to play with here. Let's go back to init. Whoops. Yeah, it's probably a lot more fun. Okay, so you could also do key splitting. Between A and B. So, I would probably want these much higher. Can you split? No. I was wondering if you could swap, but... Let's go with a triangle. Actually, I wonder if we have a wavetable for like a decent bass sound. Sampled. This might work. Okay, so my whole goal here . And then you could also dual them. It's wild. Hey, what's up with Spotify taking down all of your stuff? When did it happen again? I don't have Spotify right now. I'm not gonna fight it. I don't think it was, maybe TuneCore did it. And at this point, I would think if they did it, it would be malicious, to be honest. I don't remember the exact number, but I calculated how much money I lost from, let me see if I'm on Quobuz. Yeah, that's what I'm using now. I don't have Spotify on my phone. Yeah, I calculated how much money I lost from like the playlists and stuff. No, I'm still on Quobuz. Am I not on Spotify? Did Spotify actually... I don't know. Well, so this is all going to make sense after my next video, but let's see if that'd be funny if I wasn't on Spotify, but they're still capturing my fucking SEO whenever you search my name. All right. I know my monthly listeners have gone way down. All right. Damn, Spotify's fucking slow, huh? Nah, I'm still on there. Yeah, God, I've lost so many monthly listeners. Yeah, look at this. This is nuts. Nuts. I was at like 300,000 a year ago. And the reason for it is because when TuneCore falsely accused me of um, fake streaming, they took me off of all of the um, playlists and stuff, and it didn't completely get restored because I had been off of them for like a week or two before they could get stuff put back up. And so I actually have the metrics of that drop off, and that, I mean, it's costed me tens of thousands of dollars. Like, it's been significant amount of money. But anyway, I don't want to like announce anything yet on a stream, but I have a fucking crazy plan. Just, I don't want to give up like too much info right off the bat, but like I've been working on a lot of stuff, high tech stuff that like may solve a lot of the problems that we're dealing with. Not with like streaming royalties as much as AI and stuff like that, but it's bonkers. It's crazy. And just today I worked out, last week I did, but just today I filmed a quick thing with the CEO of a distro, a large distro. I am not at liberty to announce it just yet, but they're working with me. And there may actually be, like, I'm re-releasing my entire catalog through them to all the streaming services. And there's a little surprise in that no artist has done yet, or no anybody has done yet. It's pretty crazy. I'm excited. Like, my next video is going to be fucking epic. It's going to be one of those videos that like doesn't track well in the algorithm just because the demographic of people interested in that is much smaller than capitalism or something. But it's probably the most epic video in terms of like what my channel can accomplish, or what the Patreon community can accomplish, really, because what it ultimately indicates or shows is, like, if you start a YouTube channel and start a Patreon community and make that nonprofit and funnel all the money back into research, you actually get a lot done. And then that also has something to do with voice swap as well, which is now called Topset Labs, by the way, but it just hasn't been like updated yet. It's going to encompass more things. But yeah, all this stuff's coming together really beautifully. It's really nice. And it feels cool because I haven't been releasing music just because I hate the music economy so much right now. But it feels really cool for like my music to be involved in something that could actually make things better for other musicians. Like, that makes me want to release it. So anyway, it's pretty crazy. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where like me saying it's epic. It's one of those things where in this video, I'm like trying to tone it down because there's so much shit in it that it's like it's almost like too much. Like, it's just like, I feel like anybody watching this, it was going to think I'm a liar or something, going to think I'm like a magician or just like tricking people with like things. Cause yeah, I mean, like technologically it's bonkers. It's like you're just not going to believe, like, I show demos of what's going on technologically with like, essentially just attacking, generative AI processes and speech recognition processes, and even microphones that harvest data, like just attacking and manipulating that stuff, both black hat and white hat. It's crazy. And it's what I've spent like 2 years doing, between like royalty mechanisms and for AI, and then, protection from AI, generative AI. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But at the same time, it's like, I want to be done with it. Like, I want to just get a team under me, not even under me. Like, I just want to tell a team what I'm working on, give them all the code, have them go off and make it more efficient, and then release it as an API for other musicians through a distributor. So that would be really nice. I want an open source streaming service where all revenue goes back to artists, dev salaries, and keeps the lights on. Basically, a nonprofit streaming service. So yeah, there's some problems with that, right? Like some people are trying that. Some people who I respect a lot and who I'm close with, and I haven't signed off on one yet. I mean, there's quite a few. Well, not quite a few. I would say there's like 3 or 4. So the problem with a nonprofit or open source streaming service. So first of all, okay, let me be super clear about something. When you release something for free, that's good. That like beats things that aren't free. This is what, like with my AI music detector, for example, like just with that process, with looking for, I mean, I have the patent sitting right here, with just looking for being able to detect discrete cosine transform, inverse modified cosine transforms in audio when it's being encoded for something like Spotify or for YouTube, like when it's just using file compression to make it better for those streaming services, and being able to detect if something has evidence of that, meaning that it scraped something off of those services, which is a great way to detect AI, right? So I announced that in a video and I didn't like go over the math of it or anything. I didn't like show the exact algorithm, but multiple large companies, like within a month, said that they thought of this, and I got a tip that one was about to announce it and patent it, and I patented it first. However, applying for a patent cost, I think this cost me like 10, 11 grand, and I kind of did it on as cheap as I could. So it's like I made something to make what I believe what I truly believed would make the world a better place, even if it's just something simple like, you know, that a streaming service could use, or that a distributor could use to detect AI generated music. And I made it being all proud, like, yeah, maybe, and then other people can other people can improve it, and it'll be kind of like SurgeXT. But what ended up happening is that other people were like, okay, well, I heard this idea. Now we're going to patent it and make sure that everybody has to pay to use it, and we're going to gatekeep it. And then, yeah. So, I mean, it's like, and then another thing that happens is when you come up with ideas like that, and when you pitch it to partners, they want to just make it like, oh, they want to make it a white glove service, right? That like you could sell for a lot of money to like VIP clients, which is like, well, fuck that. That's stupid. That's like, you know, like, sure, it might make money in the beginning while it's being developed, but it's also like a dumb business like venture. It's just stupid. Like, I don't want to make white glove shit for VIP clients. Like, not even if it was only about money being made, or even if it was only about like a means to an end, it's still like that's such a low ceiling. Just like, well, wow, one day we could have 100 clients and it won't make a fucking difference in the world except to them. Anyway, so point being so if you bring something as big as a streaming service into it, you have all that to worry about, right? So it's like, if you do have a good idea, it's just, if you want to release it for free, it's a licensing minefield, because our system, our intellectual property system, was built on capitalism, right? So like, and I'm not saying that in like a boo capitalism way. That's just how it is. It's just built where like it's almost as if the way that our IP laws work are as if you were to say, as if like whoever's making the laws, or whoever made the laws, would be like, why would anybody want to share an idea if they weren't being paid? You know, it's like, it's absurd. Why would you share it if you weren't getting paid for it? So, and yeah, I know like open source licenses have ways around that, but like it's still super fucky and it's still tricky. And at the end of the day, you're dealing with like whoever has the most money is going to win the legal case, right? So going back to the streaming, I'm not looking at the chat right now because I don't want to go off topic. So with the streaming services, something that like I put a lot of time into and thought into, and I really wanted to build a decentralized one, not in like a crypto way, but essentially just to offset server costs and storage costs, because storage costs is probably in the beginning for Spotify, and I say I've had meetings with some of the Spotify founders, right, who were in charge of making it all work technically in the beginning, and designing the whole thing. One of the biggest issues, and still one of the biggest issues, is just file storage. Millions and millions and millions of songs, right? It's like, it's actually a pretty huge expense. And it's even a bigger deal when or it's even a more painful expense for them when you have tons of stuff that's not being streamed, when nobody's listening to it. And so when you consider that like 85 to 90% of Spotify gets less than 1,000 songs on Spotify get less than 1,000 streams per year, and when you consider that like they have to pay for that storage, I don't think it's right to not pay those artists, nor do I think it should even be illegal. But it's understandable why they would come to that conclusion. Like it's understandable how somebody making that decision process, and again, I don't think it's right and I don't think that they should do it, but I could see the decision-making process from a technical standpoint where it's like, well, we're not hosting music that's not being played for free, right? Or we need to like do something to at least stop this loss because they were bleeding money as a result of that. I don't know how much that fixes it or not, the 1,000 play thing. So when I think of like a free streaming service, it's just one of those things where it's like, in order for that to work, in order for a streaming service to come in and just make enough money to where, well, let me start a little bit earlier. If I started a streaming service, I did a bunch of videos on it. It got traction. Hundreds, maybe thousands of artists got involved. It actually posed a threat to the music streaming industry. Let's say that happened, right? Actually, it's growing at a crazy rate. It's just a viral sensation. These are all like knock on wood, lucky rabbit foot scenarios. So that happens. What do you think would happen? Like what I think would happen is I think Spotify and Apple Music would push to make exclusive deals with major labels like Sony, right? Or United. And they would say, okay, well, if you want to listen to the Beatles or Metallica or whatever, we have an exclusive deal with them. And they would front load those for like 2 years. And my service or whatever, open source service, would never get off the ground with people who aren't already uploading music to it. So it would never get bigger than Bandcamp in that regards, right? Does that make sense? Because like my mom wants to listen to the Beatles, like the average person wants to listen to pop music that they're familiar with. And so that's like a strategy that the larger streaming industry could easily use to just strangle anybody out from being a threat who's doing something like that. And the reason for that is because the reason they can do that is because mine would be nonprofit. There would be no interest from venture capital investors. There would be no private equity group, and there would be no billionaires coming in to say, oh yeah, well, if you want to own Metallica, then we're going to own the Beatles and we're going to own Taylor Swift. And there wouldn't be that fracturing going on for it to be a viable competitor. And so you can still say, okay, yeah, but you still could have this out there and it still could capture a small amount of the market. The problem with that is that it's not going to disrupt. It's not going to actually disrupt Spotify, meaning that it's not going to capture enough listeners from the general public to actually pay artists what they deserve. Spotify will still be the 90% or higher. I mean, they don't have that much market share. Let's just say that the existing streaming industry will still be the 90% or higher earner for artists, and it really wouldn't make that huge of a difference in their income. It would be, because we already have Qbuzz, whatever it is. That's what I'm using right now. I'm assuming that they are just front-loaded with VC and they're paying out higher royalties, and that's their strategy to break in and try and disrupt the existing industry. I support giving VC money to artists, sure, in royalties, but I don't think it's sustainable. And my point being is that the amount of money that I make from Qbuzz as an artist, Qbuzz, the amount of money I make from it is negligible. I could take it or leave it. It's like a few dollars, right, in comparison to the 50 to 70,000 that I would make from all the other services combined. So anyway, that's my that's my spiel. That's why it's difficult for that to work. I think the problem is in streaming itself. I think you either need to go back to buying intellectual property rather than just a blanket license for everything, or better yet, I would really love to see the streaming industry's decimation of the music economy turn into people supporting artists directly, not through intellectual property. I think that using intellectual property as a form of converting cash from a customer to a artist is very flawed, and it enables all of the fuckery that we constantly talk about in this community. So, like, I think that Patreon is what I was just talking about. Patreon's paid for research with direct memberships, like people who are just directly not through PayPal and Patreon, but like there is no intellectual property trade happening there. They are just saying, I think Benn is worth $5 a month, and so they give $5 a month, and that $5 a month literally buys another GPU, or for this current thing that I'm researching, literally buys another GPU or hires a developer or something like that. Like, it goes to those things, and it's just so much better when you consider like how much you spent to how much I received on something like Spotify or even an album sale. There's more obfuscation that can happen. So maybe a nonprofit Patreon. Yeah, totally. 100%. I 100% agree with that. The fucked up thing, the sad perversion of the last decade is that we had crypto and we had NFTs and we had these things that really were amazing, innovative things, but we just ruined it. Well, we didn't ruin it. I mean, like, greedy people ruined it. They started a bunch of altcoins, so there is no standard one that everybody can adhere to. They just took the most like environmentally expensive route. And then NFTs. I mean, it just turned into fucking trading cards for pictures of apes, rather than what you're talking about, like a blockchain on a proof of stake network could have been, if it was tethered to US dollars and if there was no gambling involved, it could have been a Patreon, a nonprofit Patreon that ran itself. But here we are. Yep. The rich co-opt and steal from us, and they build on our ideas and then destroy all of the things that made those ideas possible to maintain power. You know what's funny is that is very much similar, that very strange metaphor here. Well, not metaphor, but very strange comparison, but it is extremely similar to how I look at white people taking black people's music. like we fucking make it illegal. We demonize it. We like all the way back from when jazz became a thing. We literally made it illegal, and then Gershwin played Summertime at Carnegie Hall while Louis Armstrong had to play it in a brothel because it was illegal to play jazz in public in some places in the United States, and so on and so forth. Like blues, but then now we put a white face on it, and we got Elvis, and then we took it and we adopted it and made it our own. And then electronic music, a whole bunch of that. Like we demonized it. We demonized its culture. Even when, raves in Chicago, before it got kind of whitewashed, it wasn't about drugs. It was literally about like health and dancing. And it was also a big, the Chicago house scene originally, it was like a black culture thing, and it was also a gay culture thing. It was like one of the only like openly gay things, or openly gay social things at the time in the 80s. And now, you just have people like you have schools banning hip hop fashion and stuff like that. But meanwhile, major labels can make billions and billions of dollars off of hip hop. It's disturbing. So would it be equally bad for black people to play music created originally by white people? My I want to be snarky and be like, when was the last original music made by white people? But I truly, yeah, I mean, I don't really think that like one race is better at creating music than another. I just think that in America, my perspective is diminished because this is a country full of immigrants, right? Like that's sort of the whole point of America is it's just a big melting pot. And so you always have these new things coming in from other cultures that you didn't know about before as we get more accepting of those cultures, or I guess as we get less segregated. And so we had like a century of that. So it probably seemed like white people just sucked at inventing music, but I think realistically it was just us kind of getting over our extreme racism and now just being in our standard standard normal racism. Um, how have I gone through all my years on this planet and not known about jazz? I even went to Berkeley. Gonna have to read about that now. Funny thing there is there's like a joke that so I used to play in like a trio that well it was like a rotating trio, like a lot of times I would play with musicians I had never met before, um but in Chicago, in like the jazz scene of Chicago, which is now kind of it ebbs and flows, but there was like a Berkeley joke where like you would have your sort of Jacob Collier, Adam Neely-esque sort of characters who sometimes, in my opinion, that they make jazz really impressive and they make you want to play jazz and they make you want to aspire to play jazz. But my one criticism of it is that they make it seem like it's this hard, impossible thing. Like it's the utmost hardest thing you can do as a musician. When I think that's bullshit. I think like the hardest thing you can do as a musician is play the same Mozart violin piece to try and get it as perfect as possible until your fingers bleed and not be allowed to stray from the instructions in any way. I feel like that is torture and I have absolutely no interest in it. But jazz, on the other hand, jazz is really just about like getting in a groove and doing your own thing. I don't think it has to be complicated. In fact, when I think of like some of the best jazz and most revered jazz, it's actually not all that complicated. Like we don't when the average person thinks of jazz, they think of like elevator music, don't they? They don't think of like fucking uh, Trio of Dooms, Cuban or Havana show where like Jaco Pastorius and like where you just have these like insanely complicated pieces of music. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that and this is again, this is like nothing to I'm not saying anything, there's nothing bad about Berkeley when I say that. I just think that like white people, white millennials, especially in the creator space, sometimes come off like they're gatekeeping it a little bit. Like you want like the idea that you would need a college education to play jazz is a perversion of jazz's history, isn't it? Like or its culture, because like jazz is just American music. That's what it is. It jazz is a reflection of everything that the 20th century brought with the amount the immigration, the wars, everything, and so and it all kind of emerges out of black culture. Um, Jacob Collier is misunderstood. I mean, I think Jacob Collier. Look, like so somebody like Jacob Collier. I think that a lot of people. I think people have two reactions. Like one, that they see him like a magician. They're like, "Wow, that's amazing. He's such an amazing thing," and it makes them inspired to learn more. It makes them want like, wow, okay, so that chord was really crazy, or that change was really crazy, or his playing was really fast, or What instrument is that he's playing? That's weird. And they want to check that out. And that's gold. I mean, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. It's such a great thing. And I think there's other people who look at him or get the vibe from him that he is a magician and he's doing more tricks than he is writing music. And I've felt like that before, but I also think that's more a reflection on me. Like, I can't say how much he's putting into his music or not. Like I think it's a combination of both things, and I think both things are totally fine. And if Jacob Collier annoys somebody who's a musician, they have the full freedom to not listen to or watch Jacob Collier. But I think he's an incredibly talented, friendly, and impactful person. I think he's really changed the way that younger people look at music, because there kind of wasn't anybody to do that. It's like, younger people weren't like getting excited about Pat Metheny 10 years ago, but Jacob Collier sort of came in and made them excited about jazz. And I think that there's other people. I mean, that's another like big shoe in for Adam Neely too. Like, Adam Neely's done a great job at getting younger people interested in jazz. But I do think that sometimes in order to do that, you have to make it seem like it's maybe a little bit more trophied or something in terms of skill. Like, because it has to be cool to try. But I do wonder if sometimes that's a little intimidating. If somebody's like, well, I could barely play rock. How could I play jazz? And it's like, well, it's not really like, jazz isn't a boss of a level of music. It's not like the final level. Like, there's no such thing as that. There was also old Soviet propaganda demonizing jazz exactly for being American. Yeah, yeah. There's I mean, who's I mean, it was interesting because at NAMM, both Jacob Collier and Corey Henry were there. It's kind of an interesting segue, considering what we were just talking about, where like, yeah, back in like the 90s, early 2000s, when you like see a child prodigy on the news, or they'd show some little kid that was just incredible at like playing instruments. Corey Henry was like the first one of those of those children who was black, and like I didn't, until I read more about Corey Henry's past and met him in person. I didn't really think about that. I was like, Jesus Christ, all those kids were either white, maybe you had like one or two Asian ones. Like, for some reason, it was like they never considered talented black kids prodigies. They were just like, oh yeah, they could play the piano or drums really well or something. So Corey Henry was kind of revered as a kid for that, and he just kept improving. He still is like, I mean, I can't think of a better performer in funk and jazz alive right now. Like, I think and so thinking about him and Jacob Collier is pretty interesting, because it's two different. It's like the same type of talent, where they're incredibly inspiring and where they inspire you to be a better musician, but two completely different scenes, right? Like, one is a little bit more of like when you see Corey Henry play, you want to like go home and play. You don't think about like going to music school or something to learn better. I don't know why that is. Maybe this is just all in my head, and I'm completely I feel like in general black people play instruments less than white people, though. I don't think that's true. No, I wouldn't say that's true. I would say that black people are less likely to be encouraged to play an instrument, not even encouraged, are less likely to be dragged to a music school after school to get lessons, to get violin lessons or something. And I don't know if that's a cultural thing or a economic thing, because music lessons are absurdly expensive for a parent. you know, who's already, paying for childcare and everything else. So I don't know if that is, but I don't know if that's the case. If adults or teenagers, I feel like it's kind of these days. I feel like it's kind of across the board. When I ran a nonprofit music school in Chicago in 2010 to 2012, I believe. Maybe no, well no, I guess it went till 2014. I would say that we had probably an even, like even though the area was probably like 50-50 demographically, racially, and we had about the same amount of older students, like if I think about the teenagers and stuff. But I mean, that's so local too. Yeah, I mean, this is why we need more nonprofit music schools. You know, the funny thing about a nonprofit music school or running a nonprofit music school is that I mean, I essentially took my life savings and just put it into this nonprofit music school. No, I didn't plan on making any of the money back. I didn't make any of the money back. But at the time, I just really wanted that, just, I just had that urge, and I met someone who worked in music education their entire life, um, and yeah, and helped co-manage it. The funny thing about it is we set up the system where half of the students paid competitive rates, like the shit that they would normally pay in at any other music school. Actually, it was a little bit better than competitive rates. So it was good. And then the other half wouldn't have to pay anything, or it was literally just like a tip jar for the teacher. And so we just structured it that way, and that way it was like, I mean, I guess it was just like a sliding scale. We eventually wanted to get to a sliding scale, but this way it was just easier to begin. And I really like that system. Like, it's almost like one person who can't afford a good education subsidizes that education for someone else. And it's private. It's not a public service. Nobody's forced to do it. You can just opt out if you don't want to do it. You could just say, I don't want to get lessons here. See, right? Anyway, so within 6 months, we were breaking even. Like it was all paying for itself within 6 months. That is absurd. Like, I thought that it was going to be basically, like, when we started, we were getting ready to become 501c3, so we could be tax deductible with the IRS. And then my business partner was essentially just writing grant proposals that hadn't gone out yet, like, because we're going to need a lot of grants to keep the lights on around here. We didn't take one. We didn't need one. It was incredible. It makes me think, like, that business model. I don't know. I mean, this is like, I guess 15 years ago now. I don't know if that business model would work as well today, just because things are a little bit different. A lot of people get online lessons more so than they did back then, I would guess. But anyway, that's that was an interesting, like, it was, the reason it stopped being a thing, it ended up turning into a community center and some other things, and, like, we moved location down the block to where it was much cheaper, and we had a much larger space that was, they did everything from jazz shows to theater to capoeira instructions from an instructor. Like, it became this, like, multi faceted cultural center. And then eventually the reason it ended is I moved. I didn't stay there anymore. Or, I came to Georgia. But um yeah, school, I used to be very kind of secretly anti-school, like college and higher education, just because I didn't go, and I know so many people who are in student debt, but I think I've kind of changed on that, because I think I sort of anthropomorphized my own mindset to other people, which I think is not something that works, right? I think that a lot of people need a little bit. I think a lot of people need structure at that time in their life. So I'm all for it. I just don't know much about it. Although I did kind of stop working with schools. Like, I used to speak at them from every now and then, but I don't know. I've just just been like, I'll just do everything in a channel or a stream from now on. My parents paid for bass lessons for me to jam with that guy when I was a kid. Still feeling pretty guilty about that. Well, here's something. If you learned an instrument as a kid, or even if you just tried to learn an instrument as a kid because your parents sent you to higher education, or to music education, if they paid for it, again, it's expensive. We all know this. If they did that and then you ended up not playing that instrument or playing a different instrument, do not feel guilty. What I would want you to do is go into Google right now, or Gemini, or whatever you use to search. Go into that and search for the effects of music education on adults. For like, if you've had a music education as a child, look at the effects of like how it changes and transforms people when they're adults. Because music education mostly, and this is one of the reasons the reason I started the school wasn't because I was like, I have so much musical knowledge and I want to pass it on to children. The reason I started the nonprofit music school was because I grew up in a fucking area that was utterly, I can't even describe it. It was like one of the most violent areas in the country in the 90s. And it still is super violent there. There was tons of gang activity, lots of homicides, and that persisted. And then when I moved into the neighborhood in Bridgeport, kids were getting shot, like 14-year-old kids that were like street soldiers for the Latin Kings or something. You know, they didn't, and the reason why they did this, the reason why like they would break all of, you know, they would risk their ass and break laws to steal things or to sell drugs or pimp women or whatever it is that they were doing. And the reason they would do that without getting really any pay from like their capo in the gang or anything like that, is because they just didn't know any better. They just never left the neighborhood. They didn't try anything new. I remember there's this kid that stole my bike. He broke into my garage and he stole a bunch of bikes, and he was from a rival gang, and he like came into the neighborhood that I lived in at the time in Chicago. And I tracked him down in a kind of creative way. I literally put up like signs saying, I'll pay you if you could identify this person, because I had him on the thing. And I just wanted to get the bikes back for everybody in my building. But I remember I finally caught up with him, and I drove him I was just like driving him home to his mom's house. And I asked him, I was like, what did you want to be? Like, what do you want to be? Like, what do you want out of all this? And I wasn't trying to be like I'm a cool adult. Let me tell you. Like, I was just like, what the fuck do you want, man? Like, you're not making anything from this. You stole all these bikes. You didn't get a dime for it. And now you're like, you're lucky that whoever caught you isn't calling the cops or shooting you, right? And he said, I always wanted to either be a butcher or be in the military. And this kid was 16. And I was just like, oh my God, like you could be either one of those fucking things with a signature. Like you could literally walk into a butcher shop and say, hey, I want to be an apprentice. I'll work for free for a few months. And they'd be like, sure, have fun. Or military. Not hard to join the military. That they're kind of looking for young people. And so it was, anyway, not to be too long-winded there, but like, that's why I made a music school, or that's why I wanted to start a nonprofit music school. Was like, that's the power of music right there, is that you could just be like, check this out. And then by that kid or any kid in those types of areas learning an instrument, they end up, it's not about the music they make, or it's not about how good they are at that music. It's about like, all of a sudden they start this cycle of doing something and applying themselves and trying really hard and running into challenges and being discouraged at times, and then finally getting over that hump and feeling good about themselves and getting a dopamine rush. And then they get addicted to it and they want to do it again and again. And that's a vehicle for your entire life. That's how you get anywhere in life, is you understand that all of the things that come with the challenge ultimately are rewarded, even if you don't get the exact same thing you wanted. You just keep climbing. And I mean, that's sort of the thing that's missing from inner city, from not only inner city. I feel like that's just like, especially in poverty, that's just sort of the thing that's missing, is that martial arts are not that different either. Like kids who are involved in martial arts that actually go into some form of competition. I'm not talking about like MMA or UFC or something. I'm talking about like karate, right? Like a karate competition. They statistically end up like far off as adults from kids who don't. Like in terms of just lower incidence of arrest, or lower mortality rates, like everything. Anyway, so that's why everybody watching this stream needs to go out tomorrow and start a nonprofit music school. But it's actually not that difficult. It didn't take that much money. I mean, I was pretty broke when I started it. It's something that anybody could do. Yes, that too. Also music education makes the brain work better. That was like a recent thing during COVID. There's a big research study that I looked at that I was like amazed by. It was during COVID, and it was IQ tests, or I guess like IQ aptitude tests, not like standard IQ tests, from people before and after they started taking up a new hobby that was like a super challenging one. Because when COVID happened, everybody was like learning an instrument, or starting yoga, or learning how to play chess, or whatever it is. And a lot of them did nothing. Some of them made people dumber, and learning an instrument increased their IQ by like 10 points or something. It was like this profound, and I mean, it's a massive, if you look at it, there's like thousands of people. It's not like a tiny study. And it makes total sense, because like when you're playing music and when you're doing that, there's so many neuronal connections that like you have your hand-eye coordination, you have like your understanding of melody, you're identifying instruments or vibes and comparing them to memories that you have, and nostalgia, which is what makes you like something as a musician, while you're like memorizing chords and charts, and then you get a big dopamine rush when you mix all of those together. And so it kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, that's an amazing brain workout. like that's a great way to just build up some really valuable neuronal connections. And I did another video about this before, but like I had thought a lot, like, why music? What part of our, like, from an evolutionary scale, like, why did we start making music? Was it just that we were bored and we needed to bang on shit, and then eventually we started making tones? But why does it sound good? Why do we get like, why do certain types of music make us sad and make us happy? Like, what's the deal with that? That's kind of crazy, I thought about it, and I finally realized that, like, if you're walking around in the woods, all the sounds are incredibly chaotic, and like it would be so difficult to make out an unusual sound unless you had some type of nonstop ritualistic practice of pattern recognition in sound, because hearing is by far our most sensitive sense. And so, yeah, I imagine that if we never had music evolving, it would be a lot more dangerous for us to walk around in nature or I guess in public, like, because you wouldn't be able to recognize the pattern of a predator or an enemy or a car coming in your direction. Like, it would just be a lot more chaos. Because again, if you just go outside in public or in the woods or anywhere and just record something, and then go back on that recording and like look at the spectrogram and just write down all the sounds you hear, you'll miss 90% of them. You won't realize. You'll be like, fuck, there's a plane. I heard a train whistle. I heard a type of bird I never heard before. Like all these things that like your brain just didn't listen to because it didn't find it important at the time when it was going through the little filter of latent inhibition. All right. We were talking about jazz when I left. Wasn't there some study where they showed that people were way better at chess and maths after listening to Mozart for 15 minutes? Kev Human asks. Yes, and it was funded by NAMM, and it was proven to be like very flawed. And then the original researchers deleted all of the data from the archives. They like unpublished it and just were like, no. We did it. It's kind of funny, like the accountability of that study. Yeah, I remember that too in the 90s. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't NAMM's fault. Like they didn't do anything wrong. They did what they funded a research study on music education. But yeah, apparently it was like the most dodgy study, and then like when they got called out on it, they ended up just like removing everything and not answering anybody's question, and it became kind of a ridiculous situation. But also being autistic, I sometimes do hear all of them. That's so yeah, I know that autism, that like neurodivergent people hear too many sounds or pay attention to too many sounds. People with low latent inhibition, that's a crazy one. So it's not a mental illness, it's not a disease, it's considered a neurological abnormality, and it's very rare. Some people have extremely low latency in what their brain is processing. So that means that if they go outside and you tell them, hey, do you hear that squirrel? They hear everything. And it's sort of like what we were talking about, where like you have no pattern recognition. And it's really interesting if you look up like just, I guess, I don't even want to say, it's not like research papers, when you just read about people with low latent inhibition, they have like, it's like half of them are incredible drivers who have like never been in an accident, who are extremely defensive, extremely accurate with like their lanes, everything else. And the other half cannot drive. Like they literally cannot even pass a driver's test because it's just a nightmare. Same thing with like video games. Like some of them can play video games incredibly well, like almost world champion level, and then other ones literally cannot even walk around in the video game because they're so overwhelmed by all the things happening at once, and because yeah, their brain isn't filtering any of it. Now, the bigger, crazier part of this about latent inhibition is that the way our brains are wired, it's kind of as if when you're experiencing something in real time, it's being filtered through latent inhibition and then being perceived by you as a real-time memory. But our memories are flawed, are very flawed. Like, you know, we remember things that didn't exist at all, which always makes me question, like, the things that you see and experience are filtered by that very inaccurate system in your brain, meaning that, you know, it just makes you like, I don't know what real is. Like, I don't, just because like we're all kind of seeing things through a very short-term memory, and that's kind of spooky when you think about it. But oh God, false memory syndrome. False memory. No, I'm thinking of a science fiction book. What was it? False memory disorder. There's, I think it's a Blake Crouch book. I forgot what it was. Divergence or something? I don't know. Oh, really? Padlock? That's good to know. Okay. I'll have to watch that because that's one of those things that like I've read about and I've thought about a lot, but I've not seen like any sort of authoritative video on, I guess, where it's like, and it's kind of, it's outside of my wheelhouse enough to where I wouldn't make a video on it. But anyway, I saw someone, Virtual Riot, I think, talking about the relationship between diatonic notes and the color spectrum, but the details escape me. Kev Human, I literally sat listening to him talking about that. I make it sound like I didn't like it. I mean, it was fascinating. He literally talked to me about that at a Red Lobster like 2 months ago. Like I was literally sitting next to him and we're like eating, and he was just telling me all about it. It was fascinating. That was, yeah. Maybe I should go find that video too. Um, yeah, prison. I'm not even gonna get into that, but anyway, well, whatever. I'm 15 minutes over. Hey, SurgeXT, if you use my coupon code, you could get it for 100% off. Just go to the website; they'll know you came from me, and it's great. Um, I I discovered some things that I didn't know about this plugin today, and I'm even more bullish on it. It's a good investment of your time. Oh, one last thing, right? This is going to be great. I want to do sim selections in the future, which is the monthly songwriting challenge associated with this streaming channel. Probably next week's stream. I want to do sim selections in the future where everybody downloads Surge, and where I basically take a video file of something, like a car driving past a stream and then a dog walking past it. Something simple, like a 10-second, maybe 15-second top video file. And then you have to sound design it only using Surge. You can't use samples, you can't use recordings. You have to actually program a synthesizer to make the sounds as close as possible or as wonky as possible as you want. You can be creative with it too. But I feel like that is like the ultimate way to learn new ideas in programming synths. Yay. All right. So that's it. That's my idea. Maybe not that cool, but I'll like it. I'll think it's fun. Someone will do it. All right. Take care, everybody. I don't know if I'm gonna have a video out before next Thursday. I'm sort of filming it and winding down all the writing and stuff now, but yeah, soon. And I'll, at the very least, I'll see you by next week. So take care. Let's play with Surge. It's fun. It's great. Okay. Bye, everybody.